Someone, how when the bomber clad you, we undecent comfy slaughter you, out we lost every single part of you. I come by my gun, no one lit out of you. Me gonna sing shooby-dooby-doo-be-doo. Boy, I hurt like a Indian Scooby-Doo. And if I bust this way, I figure shoot the coup. Boy, I got dead right now and that's so me too. If you shut this way tonight, some boy there will be no tomorrow. Because they said you're no fist fight. Cause you want to walk with guns in a barrow. So you should tell all your friends that not decent laws you must follow. Because if you're so...
Hey, what's up? I'm going to make a tutorial on bone breaking, or upper body contortion in layman's terms. And, you know, I told people I was going to make a tutorial doing this, and I've been slacking on it. So here it is, finally. I haven't done any upper body contortion myself in about 2 weeks, so it's going to be harder for me and more painful, which is good for instructional purposes, because it's like as if I'm stretching coming from a beginner, you know, status. So I'm going to grab a belt, and let's get popping. For some of the stretches that I normally do for this, these stretchy like resistance bands for exercising are actually really useful, but because everybody has a belt and not everybody would have those, this is like good enough. Alright, so I'm just going to set that aside. Now you're going to want to start with what we call dynamic stretches. There's two types of stretches that I use. One is static stretches, which you're holding something in place and you're stretching it out. The other is dynamic stretches, where you're doing like head circles, you're just loosening stuff up, doing arm circles, things like that. So let's start with our dynamic stretches, which you should always do dynamic before a workout and then static after a workout, or dynamic in the mornings and static in the evenings, so you could actually get muscle and get and still get flexibility, even to like a contortionist like level of flexibility. So let's start off with our dynamic stretches. So I'm just going to do the neck, just some head spins there. Just going to circle my arms a little bit, go back. And then cross my arms. Don't have much room. Go to the sides. Alright. Wiggle a little bit to your wrists as well. Now most people who stretch for like contortion and stuff normally would not do like any weight training or anything. I mean, you can get away with push-ups and stuff. But there's a lot of myth about building muscle and getting flexible. You can get good flexibility with a lot of muscle, but you have to work out a certain way. You have to do a full range of motion. So if you're going to lift, you got to go all the way and then all the way down. If you're like doing this, you will lose flexibility and you'll get muscle mass, and most of the time that muscle mass is like useless anyway. So so the myth of like being really buff and not being flexible and not like wiping your ass or whatever, that's all bullshit, as long as you work out and stretch correctly. So alright, so we did all of our dynamic stretches, did a couple push-ups. Now we're going to do our static stretches, okay? So we're just going to start, you know, stretching our obliques. The obliques play a huge role in upper body contortion, actually, because they can pull down so much on your on your lats. And you're going to stretch your lats and your triceps, which are over here. Lats, triceps. You want to stretch that as much as you can. And then bring your arm over here, bring your hand over here, grab your elbow, stretch even more, stretch past your head if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. You'll eventually get it. Alright? And do the same thing. Stretch lats and tricep. Alright. Now, you know this basic athletic stretch, you're stretching your tricep this way. You can always keep this arm straight and go further out for a deeper stretch. Okay. You always want to be really slow with stretching. You don't want to get crazy fast. You don't want to jerk your arm into places because you could hurt yourself and it's not fun. Okay. Now we have a wall conveniently placed here, so I'm going to stretch my back over here. And it also stretches the pectoral muscles a little bit. Alright. Then, you know how people stretch going up this way? I always like to use a wall. Get right over here, look up, and go down. So you can see the shoulders going down as I'm looking up. Which is a nice stretch. Let me check if the camera's rolling still. Alright, cool, we're peachy. Alright. So from a front view of that that stretch is you're gonna want to look up and slowly sit down. And you see how my shoulders are going downwards? That same shoulder position is what you're going to be doing a lot in upper body contortion. So it's a really good stretch to do that with. Alright, I'm going to stretch the wrists a little bit. And this is good for, and let me stretch the sides over here. This tendon is really sensitive. You don't want to overstretch it. These stretches are also really good for tutting. So, alright, I'm trying to think, see if I missed any stretches. Oh, you want to anchor your wrist right over here. Grab this elbow. Make sure your shoulder's going down, it's a little bit more relaxed, and pull it up front. Try to keep your shoulder down. There we go. And I released that too fast. Same thing here, try to keep the shoulder down. Anchor the back of your wrist between your two lowest ribs. Not your floating ribs, but the ones in the front. Try to keep that shoulder down. It's really hard. It's hard for me too. Alright. And here we go. I'm going to loosen up a little bit with a couple more dynamic stretches. Loosen the neck up a little bit. You might want to static stretch the neck too if you're feeling a little bit of tightness. So just tilt one side, tilt the other side, look one side, look the other side, look up, down, and you're good. Alright? Now, this is where the belt comes in. Okay? You're going to want to don't feel bad about spacing it really far apart, because I do this all the time too. But whatever space is comfortable for you to literally just go straight back and up. Straight back and up. So you're going straight back, alright? And as time progresses, you want to inch your fingers a little bit closer. And then go straight back, inch your fingers, straight back, inch your fingers, straight back. Alright? So I went from here to about here. It's not much. The reason why I recommend these, again, it's not necessary at all. I was bone breaking before I got one of these. But these are nice because you can have them close. It'll stretch out as you're going straight back, and it'll help you get there like easier because there's resistance that's pulling your arms back together. So it'll help you get that flexibility. It's a little bit more painful though. Okay. Now we're going to do the most basic bone break, which is called a dead arm. Okay. Now a dead arm, basically what you're doing is with whatever position is most comfortable for you. If you're right-handed, you want to start with your right side. If you're left-handed, you're going to start with your left side. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so I'm starting over here. What you want to do is you want to grab this elbow, right? You want to grab your right elbow if you're right-handed, and vice versa if you're left. Go over your head, right? So you're over your head with your hand. Now you want to keep your grip secure on your elbow, and slowly rotate this arm down, right? Still keeping the grip secure on this elbow, and then slowly move it forward over here. And then move it as close to your spine as you can. So now you see what I said earlier about your shoulder being in that position. And then eventually, when you do the stretch enough, or when you do the dead arm enough, see this dead arm, you're already a bone breaker at this point, because this is the very first move. Alright? Eventually, you'll be able to loop your head through and stuff like that. Ooh, I like this song. Oh my god, I like that song. Anyways, you're going to want to go to the other side with that. Left side is always the most painful for me. Yeah. So dead arms you want to hold at least 10 seconds a day. And if you can't do the dead arm yet, don't sweat it. Just do all of the aforementioned stretches, and you'll eventually get to a dead arm. Like, it's gonna inevitably happen. It's just a question of time. I personally know a bone breaker who started like freaking doing jump roping and all that. Jump rope is when you go straight back, or not straight back, but you go all the way back with your arms. I know somebody who was doing that in a matter of weeks. And it took me like over a year. So if it takes you like some time, dude, I was in the same boat as you, so don't even sweat it. Anyways, we just did all of our stretches. Now we're ready for the jump rope, which I'm kind of on edge right now because I haven't done it in 2 weeks, so it's going to be a little bit painful. So what we're going to do for the jump rope is you're going to want to grab your belt or your workout thingy, right? Or a sock or whatever. Go right here, and you remember what you did with your dead arm, popping that shoulder forward. You want to do the same thing. Keep your arm straight, and then slowly go back. And you'll find the body mechanic for it as you're doing this. It's really hard to explain in layman's terms, but so once you go out to the side, let's say you're right-handed, you want to go out to the right side, right shoulder out, and once you're in this position, you want to pull your right arm as close to your left side as possible, so you're not going straight down, because that's what's going to be really painful if you don't have the flexibility yet, right? So now, you're going to want to spend a while doing this with the belt. and slowly inching closer and closer and closer and closer with the belt until you can do it with your fingers, and then you no longer need it with your belt. But like I said, if it takes a while, don't sweat it. It took me a while. And please don't like rush yourself, because you will hurt yourself if you rush into it way too fast. Alright? So now you spent a while, you spent hopefully several months at least, doing this with the belt, going back, inching it closer and closer and closer every other day or every week or whatever, or every 2 weeks. I mean, it shit won't happen overnight, you know? So you inch it closer. Once you reach about here, you're ready to connect your fingers. Once you're about 3 or 4 inches away on your hands, right? So now you connect your fingers one day, and you decide to just go for it. The thing is, I mean, I don't really have that much advice on how to like go for it, except for just going for it. You already know your body mechanic, because you've already practiced enough with the belt. You know exactly what to do. You just have a little bit less room to do it. Okay? So here it is. And there you go. That's bone breaking. Now, this morning when I got up, and I literally got up like maybe a half hour ago. I just finished breakfast before I started this video. This morning when I got up, I was not able to do it what I just did. There was no possible way. But with those stretches, like, that's what made it possible. So you need to do those stretches if you want to get into upper body contortion. So I appreciate the watch. Hopefully somebody learned something from this video. Hit me up for more tutorials. I will probably want to do like a tutting tutorial or something like that soon. Or maybe another bone breaking tutorial for frontal bone breaks and the X and stuff like that. But for now, I'm already in enough pain, so have a good one. So I totally almost forgot before ending this video. You know how I just did the dead arm and the jump rope going one side? You always want to practice the other side as well. So I should have done this. So I'm jump roping one side, right? Now I should jump rope the other side, because that's my weakest side. Oh, fuck. There we go. I've redeemed myself. Also, when you jump rope and you go down, you also want to practice the motion of going back up with your belt, so that then when you can do it with your fingers, you can just go back up with your fingers. I'm making the intro of this video after I do all the stretches. You've seen the intro of this video already because I put it at the front of this video. But I'm about to make the intro of this video. It's like a, it's kind of like watching Reservoir Dogs, if you will. So, thanks for watching.